Welcome everyone to the Queen of TV channel. Now, before we get into our intro, let's get into a few things first. First, don't please watch the video to the very end and do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Second, there will be cursing and profanity. If that's not your cup of tea, the channel is not for you. Lastly, I'll be giving my honest opinion about the episode and the show as a whole. So, without further ado, let's get into our intro. Welcome, everyone. I'm your host, the Queen herself, and you are the Prince and Princesses. You are either a subscriber or you are a viewer. Either way, welcome. Today, we're talking about H2O, Season 2, Episode 22. This name is hard to say. Bubble, Bubble, Toil, and Trouble. So we start the episode with Cleo swimming, and she ends up running into Charlotte and seeing that Charlotte is a mermaid. Charlotte's obviously out of spite, rubbing this in her face. And Cleo leaves to go try to tell her friends, who tell her they already know because Lewis already told them. Rikki is upset with Lewis, and rightfully so. She said this is Lewis' fault because technically it is. And tell him that he needs to do something about this. Lewis goes talk to Charlotte, and she is so excited about being a mermaid. He has to tell her to keep quiet because she is around people. But she also likes the fact that it scared Cleo and upset her. Like, she's gloating about it, and she says that Lewis should have seen her face. Lewis tells Shaw she could have been a little bit more considerate about it. And Charlotte says she always felt like they was a part of some kind of club, and now that she could be a member. But he tells her that that's probably not a good idea, and they probably wouldn't want that. But Charlotte says that they're going to be fine because there's nothing they have to hide now. And she has Lewis promise her no more secrets. And he says, yeah, sure, no more secrets. And when she leaves, she's all happy and smiling while he looks like he wants to crawl somewhere and die because he looks depressed and miserable. So Rikki and Emma are approached by a coach who tells them that they are failing PE because they have done nothing sport wise and that they are looking at getting an F. This freaks Emma out, and they are given the opportunity to make up their grade by joining the beach volleyball team. But they need 4 members to count for it. And Emma jumps at the chance because obviously she's never been an F in her life and she's not going to start now. Cleo shows up. Not her fault. And the coach claims that now they have 3 members. And Rikki tells Cleo she had the perfect timing. And Cleo asks, what did I do? Rikki is bummed completely out. They got to do beach volleyball. But Emma tells her they got more things to worry about. And Cleo brings the fact what are they going to do about Charlotte. Emma says that they should help her. Trying to be nice, but at the same time, they kind of got, like I said in the previous episode, they are put in a position where they have no choice. So whether or not they agreed to this, they really did not have a choice. But Ricky's not having it. She even asked Cleo if she's got one of those chocolate swirl ice creams, and she attacked that thing like an animal because Cleo's dad says, I ain't never seen a girl eat like that. But Lewis lets him know that Rikki got a high metabolism and Rikki thanks him for the ice cream. And after thinking on it, what Emma suggested, she still does not think that's a good idea and says no. They decided to take a vote on it, and Lewis and Emma think that they should help, while Rikki doesn't, and Cleo is wondering whose side she should be on because she can see both sides. Yes, she can see what Lewis and Emma are talking about. They should probably help her, show her the proper way, show her how things are supposed to be done, and how she's supposed to be as a mermaid. So that way she doesn't get them all in trouble and they can keep her under control. While Cleo can also see Ricky's side, where just because Charlotte is a mermaid, they don't have to be friends with her because they definitely were not friends with her beforehand. But Lewis is able to convince Cleo by saying to just do it for him, and Cleo decides to only do it for Lewis. So she tolerates Charlotte for as long as she can just to make Lewis happy. They agree. They go to the Juice Net Cafe where obviously Cleo does not want to be there. Emma is determined to like lead everybody into this, and Rikki is just stubborn. Look here, I am on Cleo's side. I am on Ricky's side. I think Emma and Lewis should really think about this first. Like, you need to make it clear that hey, that does not mean we're friends. We're only helping you to help you. Let's not get too excited. Cause when they tell Charlotte, Charlotte is excited about this thing, and then maybe this could be like they're like sisters, honey. I got something to talk about in the review, okay? And I'm going to actually talk about that when I get there. But Rikki tells her not to get too excited about it, but Emma lets her know that she can do it by herself if that's what she prefers. But she's like, "Nope, are you kidding? Of course she won't stay help. She's lying. She's a liar." Yeah, this is all because she wants to get information on how to be a mermaid, so then she can drop them, and then she can use all this mermaidness to manipulate Lewis. We all know what the fuck this is. I'm not dumb. Like I said, she's a liar. Charlotte tells him, of course not. She won't stay here. Fibbing like a motherfucker. And they tell her some things she needs to understand about being a mermaid. And she's like, yeah, the whole beware water thing. But nope, that's not it. So they go back to Cleo's house where the girls show Charlotte their powers. Cleo goes first, then Emma, then Rikki. So they want Charlotte to show them her power. Well, apparently we find out that there's something wrong with Charlotte. That should have been our first red flag about her being a mermaid. Um, Among other like the things that happened before, like her reasoning. But this is the first big red flag. She does not get her powers like the girls did. Cleo and Emma got theirs literally right after they had became mermaids, like some hours later. 12 hours to be exact. The same day that they found out. Rikki got hers, I believe, the day after. Like the day after or two or like maybe 2 days after. But in Charlotte's case, This is it's already been 24 hours. Like Charlotte became a mermaid in the previous episode. This is the next episode. It has been probably like a fucking day. The fact it's been a day and some hours and she still ain't got no powers. Something is not right. And it definitely ain't right when we continue on and she still ain't got no powers. So Emma says that they all agreed to help her. And when Rikki tries to make a crack at the fact that Charlotte should beat herself up about it, she's probably a slow learner. Lewis says like her because he tells her that it took Rikki the longest, and I'm actually going to address an elephant in the room with Lewis in this review about him doing things like that in front of her. But yeah. Like I said otherwise, he's gonna have to show some kind of favoritism. And this is what the fuck is happening. He's showing some type of favoritism because he really ain't got a choice. Sean tries to crack at it again, but apparently it still does not work. Uh so we go into the next scene where the girls are at school, right? And Emma and Cleo want to convince Rikki to give Charlotte a chance. So basically, at this point, Charlotte has been a mermaid for 2 days and about 12 hours, and she still ain't got no powers. And that's a long ass time because the girls kind of got their powers sooner than this. So something is seriously wrong. Well, Emma and Cleo, with Emma's suggestion, try to convince Rikki to give Charlotte a chance, but the conversation is very awkward, and Rikki still will not give Charlotte a chance. And she knows what they're trying to do. She ain't no fool. Well, that's when the volleyball coach show up and inform them that Charlotte has agreed to be a part of their team. They are not happy. So they begin training later that day, and it goes as well as you might think. They're terrible. They're having a hard time, and then when they try again, um, Ricky's getting ready to hit the ball back towards Emma or Cleo, and Charlotte ends up moving off of her spot and bumping into Rikki, and claims that the ball was going towards her, not Rikki. Okay, as a person that played volleyball, 'cause we played in middle school, we did team type things like camo, team blue, team yellow, team red. We were team green. I was on team camo. Okay, when you play volleyball, you are not supposed to move unless the ball comes towards you. So Charlotte was incorrect. That was actually Ricky's hit. That would have been a literal match point. Basically, not a match point, but like a point for the other team because you literally just caused your team a point. So Charlotte was incorrect in her assessment. And they clash a little bit, and the coach tell them it's good that they passionate about it, but they are facing a really tough school, and they need to be ready. And Emma said they will, because she ain't never felt nothing in her life, and she ain't finna start now. Well, so at the Juice Net Cafe, Charlotte is bummed out because she's like the girls do not like her. Lewis said he likes her and that he should give them time. She talking about they had time. You've been a part of the group for like what, a day? Honey, it's not gonna work like that. They weren't even that close before. They had their fights from the very beginning. You are so naive. But Lewis tells her that she's new and that they've known each other longer than they've known her. And that they're going to be distant and they need time to get used to it. And she says maybe he's right, and he says he's always right. So he leaves her there to go about his business. Well, Cleo, Emma, and Rikki are at Mako, where Rikki is still complaining and trying to use the fact that Charlotte took Lewis from Cleo, and I'm going to talk about that too. But Cleo told Rikki that she broke up with him, and that Emma is still trying to get Rikki to just give Charlotte a chance. But Rikki feels like this is all not going to work. Like, this is so forced. This is something she does not want to do. Like I said, having to be around somebody you do not like, that has not been nice to you, that has been totally mean to you, or in this case, someone you just despise, that shit is so draining. So it makes sense. She does not want to do this, and she should not be forced to just because Charlotte's a mermaid. But while they're having this conversation, Charlotte is still upset and bummed out, which means her power trigger is anger, and she ends up actually using hydrokinesis. Once they get to Cleo's house, they are still arguing about the whole thing. This is when Charlotte shows up, and then she tells them she got a power, and Rikki thinks she's imagined it, but she really did. She shows it, and is revealed to be Cleo's powers. We actually see the vase that she's doing it from violently shake. So it's like Charlotte is putting a lot of force onto the object that she's trying to use because she does not have control of her emotions. So she's actually spazzing out for no reason at this point. And she ends up showing them, and then when she stops using her hand motion, the water falls on Rikki, causing her to get wet. Obviously, she did that for petty reasons. But like, that does not reinforce Rikki trying to like you if you do shit like that. That's the point that Ricky's trying to make. You're not trying to be their friend. She's excited that she got to move water, but Cleo reminds her that that's her power, and Charlotte said it's okay, they can share, and that Cleo can actually show her how to use it properly. Yeah, Cleo tries that. Matter of fact, they all tried it in the next episode, and she fucking wasn't letting them. So clearly she was lying. Like I said, she's a fibber. Um, This is great. Rikki dries herself off, and we go into the volleyball game. They start the game. They are not doing too great. One of the players get a little too violent and hits Emma in the stomach, and the girl claims that maybe it was a sudden gust of wind, and this gives Cleo an idea, and her and Rikki look at each other, and this is when they start cheating. They use their powers, and they're winning points to the point where the other team says, time out. Cleo, Emma, and Rikki are excited. They're getting points. Even Charlotte's excited. And Lewis apparently puts his 2 cents in and says that they're winning because they're cheating. And I want to talk about something for all the fans out there who hate the girls, right? I'm going to talk about this. But Lewis tells them this, and Charlotte lets him know that he needs to stay out of it. Keep a pin in that for me. So, Lewis walks away, and Charlotte encourages the girls that yeah, they could actually win this if they, keep trying to like work together as a team and maybe use their powers here and there. So they start back in the game, and apparently something goes wrong when the ball ends up falling into the water. Now Emma suggested maybe the other team should dry it off, but they say, "What? You afraid of a little water?" So when they hit the ball over to their side, the three of them back up, but Charlotte doesn't. She ends up hitting the ball and getting water on her hands like a dinkus. And so she has to get into the water. Charlotte apparently ends up swimming away, where she is washed up on the beach, passed out. Oh my lord, ain't no telling how long she's been there. And she's annoyed and upset that now she's stuck like that for a little while until she dries off. Apparently, this ends up triggering her power that Rikki and her now share, and she dries her tail off. And when Lewis finds her, he is wondering what the heck is going on. And then when he sees that it's Charlotte, he asks her, did she just do what he thinks that she done? She says, he might boil my tail off. I think I just did. And at the game, the girls are told that if they don't play, they have to be disqualified and call a forfeit. And they have to play the game without Charlotte. They're about to start, but Charlotte makes it just a nick of time. And when she's asked what happened, and if she's okay, she says yeah, and says let's play ball. They play the game, and they win. And at the end, they have a group hug. They win without cheating, mind you. So they actually start getting good. Well, at the Juice Net Cafe, they are celebrating, but Rikki isn't very celebratory. And Lewis says Rikki just admitted, you had a great time. And Rikki says there's something that's bothering her, though. How the heck did Charlotte get there so fast? And this is where Charlotte remembers that she's got Rikki power, so she shows that. And Cleo says, I thought you had my power, but she says she has Rikki too, which makes Rikki puzzle and crosses her arms. And Charlotte repeats something that Lewis had said when the girls were each showing their powers, when he said that there's one more thing. And that's when Emma showed her powers, because first Rikki started, I had got the order wrong, and then it was Cleo, and then it was Emma. So Charlotte repeats that same line. It says, oh, and one more thing, she shows Emma she also has her powers. Which freaks the hell out of Lewis, and he is even more horrified. So is Emma and Cleo. And Ricky's pissed because Charlotte sits there and says that she must be some kind of super mermaid, and she's over here smiling about it. Now let's get into my review. Let me say this. When this episode first started, I said, okay, here we go with the bullshit. Charlotte's showing off. And, I had my moments of where I'm like, rolling my eyes, right? At Charlotte's stupidity, right? Well, right after we get the part of ending the conversation with Lewis and Charlotte. We get into the whole thing with Emma, Cleo, and Rikki and them, and the volleyball thing, and then in them having to help Charlotte, all this kind of stuff. So I started to relax a little bit. I was still on Rikki's side about the whole thing. And as the episode kept going on, it went from me rolling my eyes to me just, okay, everything seems okay right now, to it's a slow process. I'm starting to warm up to the idea. I'm fine with it. I'm great. This seems like it could work. Okay, I knew there was going to be issues and problems, and it wasn't going to be as easy as Charlotte thought it was. And I'm glad to see that the girls are really being hesitant and giving her a chance, which makes sense. That is very realistic coming from them after everything they've dealt with Charlotte since the beginning. She's been there. So it's understandable because after episode 6, that was the point of no return for Charlotte when it came to the girls. So this is the repercussions of that. That's why they're not so quick to accept her. And then we see them get along. And at the end of them getting along, I was like, okay, this could probably work, right? This could work. This could be okay. Man, did that episode not take too fucking long to show me that I was right on my stance. Man, I said, okay. So now she must think she feeling herself at this point. Okay, yeah. Damn that. So let's see how this is gonna play out. Let's see. I'm gonna give it a shot. But right now, she's in neutral territory with me. This hate is coming back. It's making a comeback. Oh boy. Oh boy. When that next episode happened, I was like, fuck this. She need to help lose her powers. I'm done. So, yeah. That's how I felt when I had first watched this. Now, let's talk about what about now. Yeah, I knew what was coming, and after sitting here looking at this, I've noticed that Charlotte continuously kept her same behaviors. She did things in there that was petty, like showing off in front of Cleo and then gloating about it later, and then purposely getting Rikki wet and then showing off her powers and stuff to try to like show off in front of them, having that same behavior she had before. And I was like, okay. And then this whole idea that she thought that she could force herself into the group. She's forcing herself. She said to Lewis, like, when he was trying to tell them maybe the girls would not be okay with this, she was like, oh please, they'll be fine. There's no secrets now. Okay, her idea that because she's a mermaid, the girls now have to accept her. They now have to like her. And I was like, oh my God, this thing is naive. This heifer is naive. So when she was going through the emotions where they literally are not being her friend, they're just helping her. Rikki's complaining. Cleo ain't saying shit. She's just silent. She keeping her mouth out of it. She won't even talk when Charlotte's around. She's just quiet. She's tiptoeing over the whole fucking thing. She ain't trying to get involved. And we got Emma who's trying to keep everything in check, and Lucy's just on the sideline. So I'm like, yeah, that's probably why I like this episode. Because she went into this thinking that they would just immediately accept her, and that wasn't the case. And then when they were at the point of almost accepting her, she fucked it up. Like Rikki and her were on good terms, and she managed to fuck it up by showing off. And if she hadn't done that, and she had said that she has all 3 powers, and that now they're all equal, and then that means that now they can all help her more now that she got all these powers, now that she needs to control it, and it's going to be more difficult for her. Like, instead of showing off in front of them, she probably should have just been a little more subtle with it. That's what Lewis was trying to tell at the beginning. You need to be more considerate of your actions. And she wasn't doing that. So let's take a pin out of what I wanted to talk about. A lot of people keep saying that the girls are bossing Lewis around a lot, and that when he stood up to them in episode 10, that was good because they've been doing nothing but being bossy to him. Might I remind you that Charlotte has also been bossy. Charlotte has also been telling Lewis what to do. Charlotte has also been constantly cutting Lewis off and like telling him how things are going to be and how things are now and stuff. And this episode is proof of it. When he was telling her about being subtle about it, she was telling him like, oh please, they'll be fine, they have to accept me. And then telling him like now they don't have any secrets, and then her having him promise that there is no more secrets now, that he needs to tell her that. And not even just that, like the fact when he's telling her to give them time, she's telling him, well, they've had time. And then when they were cheating at the game, and he was rightfully saying that they were wrong in that, and you could tell that the girls were really feeling bad about using their powers like that and kind of agreeing with him, Charlotte's going to cut in there and tell him that he needs to mind his business. As if he has no right to have any say in the matter. Because one, he's not a merman, and two, guess what? He's not playing. That's why she's thinking like that. You see that superiority context she got? You see that not treating him like equals that Cleo had brought up in episode 16, that Kim need to treat Elliot like an equal, and I was telling y'all that Charlotte does not treat Lewis like an equal. This is proof that Charlotte does not treat Lewis like a freaking equal. So I don't know where those comments that were coming from that she treated him better than the girls did. Yeah, y'all not watching the show. You can't be. Or either you haven't really been dating. But I want to bring up something else. There's a comment that really hits the home about who Charlotte is as a person, and like literally everything that is wrong with her as a person. So I'm going to find that comment. I'll read y'all to real quick. I'm on my page right now. Hope I'm still recording. Okay. So this was from 4 years ago, but this person's comment was, Charlotte is a prime example of why you should go to therapy if you suffer from years of rejection. This is like I said before. When Lewis was rejected, Charlotte refused to accept that rejection. And we know that Charlotte's father's not around, and we also know that Charlotte only has ever had a true connection to Gracie and everything like that. And like I said, and it continues on. They say you can tell you can tell that she is desperate for a connection, but doesn't know how to truly connect with anyone. Her thinking that being a mermaid means that Lewis would have to now will be more in love with her, and she would have this connection with Gracie is the wrong way to go about it. Her using that connection with Gracie to say that she is better than them and that she deserved to be a mermaid, and everybody else gassing her up into that. Like, this is like what this is saying. Like, she does not truly have any true connections with nobody. And they continue on with, she feels she has to deceive, control. Listen to that. She feels she has to deceive. She's done that to Lewis. She's done that to Cleo. She has to control. She's doing that to Lewis. And she's forcing herself onto others in order to feel connection. She's forced herself onto Lewis since day one. And on top of that, now she's forcing her mermaidness onto the girls. This is what I've been trying to tell people. And I just feel like nobody is trying to listen. They continue to say it is sad in a way, but it is a lack of self-awareness / the need for self-reflection and unwillingness to take accountability for her actions that make her so detestable. All of the Charlotte apologies Everything y'all say is an excuse, but y'all try to justify her behavior when y'all say y'all don't care because Cleo's done this, that, this, and that, and Lewis is doing this, that, this, and that. This is y'all not giving people like Charlotte accountability. People have to take accountability for things they do. It does not matter what the other person did. What matters is what you do. And it's taking accountability is what decides what kind of person you are. And the fact that she does not take accountability means that she's a narcissistic, abusive, controlling, deceiving, selfish human being. And that is never going to change in my eyes. And that's not going to change with my thoughts on y'all for sitting there completely like accepting that type of behavior from her and not willing to be like people like me. Like, I love Cleo, but I can call Cleo out when she's wrong. I can call Cleo out, like, not just Cleo, but Lewis and Rikki and Emma and Ash. Like, I called Ash out. And I love these characters. I'm calling them out though. Y'all can love the character, but at the end of the day, you must call her out because because it just makes it seem like you guys don't really care about the content of the show you're watching. Let her know you guys truly understand the characters. They go on to say that she seems to be a narcissist with no respect for boundaries or consideration of how her actions affect Lewis, who she claims to care for. For anybody that says Charlotte cares more for Lewis than the girls do, bulls crap. Because that right there, that sentence right there, proved everything I have been trying to tell people. And they continue on with say, then you can see that once she loses control over the situation, she lashes out. When she doesn't get what she wants, she gets mad. She gets accusatory. She gets jealous. She gets paranoid. She starts to get spiteful. That's who she is. And they go on to finish saying, props to the writers of this show. They outdone themselves with Charlotte. That's the thing about the writers. Yeah, they outdid themselves with Charlotte because they hit it on point. They hit that character on point. So that's the comment that I wanted y'all to read, and you can find it on the full episode in the link in the description. But that's all I got for you guys today. So this video is very long. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Without further ado, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I hope you have a blessed day. And if no one told you that today, I'm telling you, I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.